those long legs to advantage. She's not going to quite get the journey. It'll get to the top of the square, and the mark taken by Randall.
Phillips tackles Egan against her shadow in Harrington. Gets free. Punches the handball for Eloise Jones, who is spectacular.
Crockett Grills, she's set upon. Still a ball to be won here. Stolen by Maloney, who runs into an open goal.
Hello everyone and welcome to the W Show presented by NAB. Nat Edwards, and fresh off the first win of the season for the Bulldogs is their skipper Ellie Blackburn, who's here to help us unpack the majority of round 5 because we do still have one more game to go. And of course award-winning journalist Sarah Black joins me. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Nat. It was good to see the Cats get on the board for that long-awaited win.
Yes.
And the Dogs, of course.
And the Dogs. How did it feel? Because it's been such a tough, I guess, opening month of the W season for you with COVID and then, what, 3 games in 9 days?
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm tired, but absolutely relieved that we were able to get a win on the board yesterday. It was a great win for our club and the team.
And how have the last few weeks been? Because, you know, you speak to people who have had COVID and everyone's recovery is different. But, you know, for the club as a whole, how's it been trying to get back to such a high level of footy when so many players were affected? I
mean, it's been a really mixed bag. I mean, some players have really struggled with it. Some players handled it really well. And the club and our medical staff, they've been really incredible, super supportive of all the players throughout the process. So, yeah, it's been tough to manage it. You know, some players really struggled in these last few games, but I feel like we're on the other side of it now, so things are looking up for us.
Are you still having to manage it slightly just because some people do get that lethargy and exhaustion just continuing on?
Completely. I mean, for me in particular, I've been rotating really early in each quarter, so I'll come off in like the first couple of minutes of each quarter, which is pretty unusual for me, so that's how I've been trying to manage it, and I think each player's had to get a lot more rotations in, so lucky we don't have a cap on that, so you're able to use it to your advantage.
The advantage of playing in summer, no cap on rotations. All right, we will dig into your game a little bit more in just a moment, but we should start right at the top, and that is with the Adelaide Crows, because they are still undefeated at this moment, 5-0. They are the only team at the moment who have beaten 3 top 6 sides in Brisbane, Kangaroos and Melbourne. Yesterday, they got the job done against Carlton. I was there with Beck Goddard, the former Crows coach, who made a big statement. She basically said that Adelaide is unbeatable. Ellie, are they?
Well, I mean, we're playing them this week, so...
You're going to say no?
So no, so after this week, ideally not. But, I mean, they set up so well, don't they, across both ends of the ground. They are a really tough team to beat. I mean, I think they're the first team on the fly-in, fly-out that have actually won a game in a different state. And I mean, we're playing them at Norwood, and that's a real fortress ground for them. They're really hard to beat there as well. So, I mean, they do set up well, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. And one thing that's so noticeable about the Crows is that if you manage to shake that first tackle, and we saw it there with Courtney Jones, it's the next one that will get you.
Oh, yeah.
They're really well disciplined. Running is such a prized attribute for them, and they just finish the game full of strength.
So, Sarah, just imagine Ellie is not sitting next to you on the couch right now. Are Adelaide unbeatable?
I think at the moment, look, they've seen off pretty much every single opponent. We're yet to see them play the Dockers. That'll be probably the biggest threat to them. They beat the Lions quite convincingly. I'd be interested to see them play the Lions again, maybe at the end of the season or in finals. That might be a different kettle of fish, but at the moment, the Crows are sitting pretty.
Just quickly on Carlton, because they were under so much pressure coming into this game. It was a much better performance, wasn't it? Let's be honest, they are 1-4. The reality is they're not going as well, but you've done a sort of a deep dive during the week on what has gone wrong at Carlton. Just take us through that.
Yeah, so the Blues, I think what we really need to focus on is the fact that it's a different team than what we saw. You know, there's a graphic here with who is still around from that 2019 Grand Final side from a couple of years ago. And to be honest, there's not many. The back 6 is fairly strong, but it's the forward line that's been an issue. We know that they've had availability issues with Jess Good and Imogen Milford both been out under health and safety protocols, which meant that they haven't had a key forward. And when you throw in an incredibly young side, I think nearly half of their 21 against North Melbourne were under the age of, were 21 or under. So when you throw that into the mix, and you've got a young midfield led by Maddie Press-Parkers, as good as Maddie is, it's a huge load to carry Ellie as a youngster, to carry a whole midfield.
Oh, absolutely it is. And I mean, like, look at one of the big names for them that they were missing, not just as a player, but as a leader in Bree Davey as well. I mean, that's a huge loss for them, but yeah, you're right. Their forward line has been decimated throughout the last few years, but then across the half-back flank, losing Chloe Dalton through her run and carry, I think loses a lot of their inside 50 entries as well. And
Jess Hosking is so dynamic as well and was a bit of a fix-it player. They could sort of put her anywhere, so she covered a few cracks, I think.
Yeah. Big shout out, of course, to Mimi Hill, who made her return against the Crows, 48 weeks out with an ACL. Dominated, 26 touches, 3 clearances, 4 tackles, and her work rate, I just watched her off the ball. She just runs her opponent ragged. She is amazing, and it's so good to see her back playing footy again. Now, time for our deep dive this week, and I know that the Lions beat the Pies by 24 points, but it's Collingwood that we want to hone in on first. They have some serious issues in attack. You can see it here. They've kicked a total of just 2 goals across their last 2 games, which is a massive drop-off if you can see what they did in the first 3 rounds. Sarah, what exactly is going wrong with the Pies?
Well, the first thing that stands out to me there is that the first 3 sides that they beat are all in the lower third of the ladder. And now they've come up against Fremantle and Brisbane, much stronger opposition. In terms of their scoring, more specifically, they just haven't got it inside 50. Against Fremantle, it was incredibly, I think they only had 10 inside 50s for the match. Bit of a better effort against the Lions, but they really struggled with the wind and didn't have the composure needed to lower their eyes and hit their targets. How can they fix this, Ellie?
I mean, their entries inside 50 is obviously a big important part for it. They need to try and get it in that deeper section. I mean, a lot of shots on goal from sort of the 40, 50 metre range out. And I mean, I personally would love to see more from Sabs up forward. You know, if she is playing too high, do they need to look at playing her a bit deeper out of the goal square? She obviously is a big marking target up forward for them, so can she do more deeper inside 50 for them?
A big recruit, Sarah, really, over the off-season. Hasn't quite hit the straps that we had hoped, given the performance that we saw in that pre-season game.
Yeah, so against the D's, no less, you know, a side with a very strong backline. She kicked 3 goals in the first quarter, and like, you know, I saw that and I'm like, right, Sabs is set for a great year. Unfortunately, that hasn't translated thus far into the AFL season as a whole. She's a very experienced forward now. You know, she's into her 6th season. So I think the Pies and the fans will be hoping for a bit more from Sabrina.
Well, the Lions are certainly full of stars, premiership stars, in fact, and one of those is Emily Bates. It just looks like she's taken her game to another level in 2022 with some career best numbers, Sarah.
Yeah, so if you the numbers here, she's averaging 5.4 more disposals. Her score involvements are up by 1.2, and her clearances are also up as well. This is, you know, from 2017 to 21 compared to right now. But Ellie, the thing that's really caught my eye with Bates is her impact on the scoreboard, and just how important is it to have a leader who can go forward and have that impact?
I mean, it's what a lot of people talk about is that dynamic midfielder that can actually get forward and get on the scoreboard, and a lot of mids try to do it and some don't pull it off, and I think Batesy's added that to her game this year, and it's just her craftiness moving it inside 50 as well. She just looks dangerous every time she goes near the footy, and you're right, hitting the scoreboard and having those score involvements as well, it just adds that extra layer to her game, and we've seen her improve so much this season. It's great to see, actually.
Yeah, it really is. I want to wind the clock back to Friday night because the Cats got their very first win of the season. We had been building to this moment, Sarah, and they finally got the job done, but it was nearly snatched away from them late in the game, wasn't it, by the Eagles?
Yeah, great composure here from Schmidt to snap that goal. Meg McDonald was stuck on the bench in the last few minutes of this game. I'm sure the Cats would have been frantic to get her back on board. Darcy Maloney, I think she's really poised for a breakout game. She's been building and building, so it's great to see her capitalise. And the Cats, they really stacked their backline in the last few minutes of the game, and it really paid off for them because the Eagles, they just kept pressing.
Yeah, look, it's been a tough couple of years, hasn't it, for the Cats? They've got a really young list. Players just need time to develop sometimes, and we can see the talent coming to the fore now. What have you made of this young Cats outfit?
I mean, at the start of the season, I think it was a big question mark next to Geelong's name. You know, what are they going to produce this season? What kind of team are they going to be? But if you have a look at these young Cats that are playing for them, I mean, they've really stepped up this year. I mean, the return of Nina Morrison, you add Prasparkas into that list. Amy McDonald has had a great couple of seasons. So I think they're building something really good down at Geelong.
Yep, for sure. And Amy McDonald, happy birthday to Amy. She's 25 today. So before then, she's just ruined our stat. The top ball winners for the Cats were all under the age of 25. But I think her game's actually come to a new level again. She was best and fairest last year. But I think her disposal has picked up and she's playing with a lot more confidence too.
Well, the Cats weren't the only ones who got their first win of 2022. Of course, your Bulldogs did it in style. And look, we've got Bonnie Toogood. We should mention your good teammate. She's working in production. She's just waltzed in this morning with a highlights reel of her own tape. She, along with Kirsty Lamb, brilliant.
Yeah, they're outstanding, and I think it's about time, in particular for Lammy, that she gets some recognition as well. She's been doing this since year one, and you know, just her work rate around stoppages and contests, she just sort of, it's bullish the way she kind of gets herself out of it. But I mean, Bonnie Toogood as well, I have to acknowledge my good mate there. Her work up forward and around the ground, her ability to clunk contested marks and just take them in nice positions and look really dangerous in the forward line is something that, as a midfielder, I personally love. So we've got big targets up the ground and it's great to have for us, and it's awesome to be a part of.
Has Kirsty done anything differently that you can notice in the pre-season, or we're just actually taking notice finally?
Well, no, I think we're taking notice finally, but I mean, she had a really interrupted pre-season. She was barely out on the track. I think she was really worried coming into the season about how she was going to go fitness-wise and all that, but she's that type of player that even though she hasn't really had a big pre-season under her belt, she will just give her all at every opportunity. She wears a jumper with a lot of pride and she gives her 100% to the team. She's the ultimate team player.
Now, we have all the tough questions covered here on the W Show, of course. There is this trend at the Bulldogs. What is going on with these celebrations, Ellie? Because I have no idea what is that?
We're trying to be crabs. It looks absolutely ridiculous, but Gabby Newton, who stepped up for us, obviously she's not playing this season. She's working as a assistant to Woody and our midfield coach, and so she's working and trying to come up with new ideas to sort of motivate the team, and she found this video. Unfortunately, the video actually didn't work when she was trying to show us, so she reenacted it, and so I think we took a lot out of it, so we're all ending up being like, every goal celebration we have to pretend that we're crabs. It's like about working together as a team and fighting off seagulls.
Okay, so you're a bunch of crabs this week and the seagulls are the Adelaide Crows.
Essentially,
Crows, seagulls, same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. I look forward to seeing more of those crab celebrations as we go on. Let's talk about Freo, because they suffered their first loss of the season. They went down to the Roos by 10 points, of course missing their superstar in Kiara Bowers for the first time since she debuted in 2019. It meant that Gemma Houghton had to spend some more time in the middle. It just throws everything around. How much did it cost them, Sarah?
Yeah, so if you actually, this is a really interesting game, because if you look at the numbers, they broke even on the clearances without Bowers. They actually they had more tackles than their average this year, slightly more tackles.
Because she usually is a tackle machine.
Exactly, absolutely bizarre. But I think what they were really missing is something that's quite hard to quantify, and that's that really smart 45 kick. And Kiara's vision, which is often overlooked in, you know, we all marvel at her clearance and tackle work, but her IQ, I think that was what the Dockers were really lacking, particularly going forward. And the Roos, their pressure was so strong that they really did miss Bowers and her composure out on the field.
And I think the thing that helps with her composure, moving it around the ground, is her fitness level. She's able to get herself in really nice positions to execute that kick. But alternatively to that as well, having her out of the side means they had to move their team around. So we saw Houghton come into the midfield and play a bit of a different role at times throughout the game. So I think it changed up their dynamics up forward and in the midfield group as well.
Could make them a little bit more unpredictable. I will mention, of course, that it was their 4th game in 16 days. So, look, they've had a pretty hectic schedule, as have you as well, and so you know what that can do. Let's talk about the Roos, because they were inaccurate, but their pressure was excellent. We've been talking about them for a long time. Are they going to, you know, beat a contender? Well, they've done that. How do you assess the Kangaroos in 2022 so far?
Well, they've changed up a couple of things. I really like Emma Carney playing off the halfback flank for them. Her running capacity is huge, and I think it allows her the ability to not necessarily have to worry about an opponent around the footy in the midfield, and so she can just exploit whoever the forward is she's playing on. So it gives them a really different look. I mean, the experience of Jazzy Garner in there, Jenna Bruton, Ash Riddell's having an incredible season as well. We see Talia Randall taking some really good marks and coming out of her shell in the forward line. I think they've got a really different look side this year, and they're playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, it looks like.
Yeah, they are, except for those 8 straight behinds.
Of course.
That was the one. You could see the sigh of relief when Bella Eddy converted there to break that.
All right, time now to find out a little bit more about our round 4 NAB AFLW Rising Stars. They were, of course, Carlton's Keely Shearer and Frio's Sarah Verrier.
As a kid, I love my teddy bear. I still have him to this day.
I liked Woody from Toy Story.
Probably Bali. I've only been there once, but I'm hoping to get back there.
Exmouth.
Probably Macca's.
Bangers and mash.
I have to say Brooke Vickers.
Gemma Houghton.
I'd also have to say Brooke Vickers. As much as she's annoying, she's probably my best friend at the club.
Mickey Hyde.
I'd have to say Sam Walsh. Haven't met him personally, but just the way he plays, amazing player.
Go Caleb Sarong.
I don't know like the names of any songs. Skip.
Money Problems by Bryson Tiller.
Oh God, I hate the movies. Yeah, Jumanji. Got there eventually.
Spider-Man.
I don't really watch TV shows at the moment.
What do you do?
Footy.
I'll go Stranger Things.
I think passionate, caring, and energetic maybe.
Cool, calm and collected.
Do you have a favourite toy from your childhood?
I do actually. I have a teddy bear as well, so similar feels there. Just Teddy. It was like a police teddy bear my nana got me, so cute. Super cute. I still have it, but I can't believe you just pulled that out of me there.
This is what we do on the W show. Do you have it?
I've still got my teddy, yeah. But half the
you not?
fur's fallen out because I think when I was little I used to like hold it so tightly that yeah.
Okay, good.
Little intense. Little intense.
Benny B Bear still sits in my bedside table drawer.
No.
God, what is wrong with all of us? All right, let's move on and talk about rucks, because there is a couple in the competition who are doing some fabulous things right now. One of them is Melbourne's ruck in Lauren Pearce, dominant on Saturday evening against the Gold Coast Suns. 20 disposals, 20 hit-outs, 7 clearances and 8 intercepts. My question for both of you, is she the best ruck in the competition right now? Sarah, you can start.
It's definitely close between her and Bree Moody. I know you're gonna pin me down to get an answer here, aren't you?
Yeah, you're gonna have to choose.
Yeah, well, you know, Bree missed the game with COVID, or with health and safety protocols, so we'll go with Lauren.
By default.
Bit of a cop out.
Yeah, that was a massive cop out, Ellie.
Well, I'm going to go with the Moody, but the Celine type, not Bree. But I mean, Lauren Pearce is having an exceptional had an exceptional game on the weekend, and I feel like it's been a real breakout year for rucks as well. I mean, we're obviously Celine Moody for us is playing really well, Alice Edmonds, but you see Lauren Pearce and Bree Moody as well. They're having really good seasons.
Yeah, it's what we love to see, the big players getting in there. Next season, we're going to have 4 new teams. We're still in 2022, but we're just going to look ahead to the next one that's coming. And of course, the Sydney Swans have appointed their AFLW coach in Scott Gowans, obviously at North Melbourne for a period of time. That's really great news, isn't it, Sarah?
It really is. I think the whole footy world felt for him when he lost his job as a result of the cost cutting out of 2020. We'll have a piece with Scott Gowans coming on Women's AFL, so stay tuned for that one.
Nice plug. All right, before we go, let's take a look at what has been trending on social media, and we start right here because last year Tigers young gun Ellie McKenzie used Brooke Lachlan, one of your teammates, as a stepladder to take this mark. And in the lead up to your game on the weekend, there was a little bit of banter via the text message there. Did this come your way?
No, well, obviously Brooke Lachlan and Ellie McKenzie are pretty good mates, and yes, it's good to see the banter between opposition players coming to life a little bit more. And obviously, again, here we see Loinsy and Choch Sarah having a crack at each other on social media again and reminiscing of the game.
Yeah, old Diamond Creek teammates, those two, and yeah, went head to head in that round 1 match.
Do you remember
5 years
Steph
ago.
having like a black eye, a fractured eye socket?
Yeah,
after
I
that?
actually went back to the match report with all the reflections about the 5 years, and yeah, she was out. She was done with concussion, I think. So it was a pretty big hit.
Yeah, well, I had to throw this one in to finish the show because I have watched this about 20 times since it came out last week, and I still laugh so hard every time when I see it, which is probably a little bit. Oh my God. I feel for that umpire, but like it happens. There's balls flying around, but come on.
Yeah, it does happen, and I love the start of the clip. There was a bit of a free promo for Bonnie and I's podcast as well in the background, off the leash. Just going to add that in there as well. You've done a quiet plug yourself, so I'll add one in.
All right,
too.
wherever you listen to your podcast, make sure you subscribe to Ellie and Bonnie's podcast. That's all we have time for on the W Show this week. Ellie, great to have you, and best of luck against the unbeatable Crows.
Yes.
We'll see how you go. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And Sarah, thank you as always.
As always, Nat.
For more AFLW news, of course, head to women's.afl and the AFLW Live app. It is great to have your company. Make sure you stay with us for the next episode of The W Show. Thanks to NAB.